Welcome to the Business of Soul Searching. My name is Erin, and I invite you to join me as I travel the world challenging risk takers who have soul searched and came out on the other side to tell us their incredible stories. Are you ready for this? This is Erin from the Business of Soul Searching, and I have here Jerrell Grimes, our special guest for today. Thanks for coming, Jerrell.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome. For those of you that aren't familiar with Jerrell, he also goes by Aaron J. Hampton. He's a passionate songwriter, poet, and hip-hop recording artist. He's based in Tampa, Florida, but is originally from Newport, Rhode Island. Shout out Rhode Island. And he is also a music publisher, entrepreneur, and public speaker. I was excited to read that you also were awarded you were an honoree at the second annual It's a Writer's World Book Fair in Fort Myers, Florida. And this was this year. And that was for your contributions to the writing world for the last 8 years. And you were also featured, you were a featured author and keynote speaker at the first annual It's a Writer's World Book Fair in Fort Myers, Florida. And that was last year. So, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and you've accomplished all this, and did I read correctly that you started recording your music in 2012?
Yes, absolutely. I actually started writing, for a while, but in regards to music itself and recording, I started probably the end of 2011, but definitely, I did a lot more work in 2012.
Yeah, really kind of tighten it up, you're saying, and then, we're ready to... Got it.
Getting the grip to figure out, can I really do this? Do I really want to do this?
Well, and so we'll, of course, get into kind of the several hats that you wear, because it's not that you're just doing music, you're writing, and, you have now 1019 Music Group. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I did also want to make sure that we talked about you're a cancer survivor as a child. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, actually, it's actually Ten19 Media Group.
Yeah, Media Group. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
1019 Media Group.
But yes, I was actually diagnosed with childhood cancer back in '96. It was actually called osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer.
Okay.
Back in 1996, I was about 11 years old, and that was a very pivotal moment in time for me, especially, but obviously others around me as well.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And so the process must have been grueling, I would think.
Oh yeah. I mean, chemotherapy. I lost all of my hair, my eyebrows. I'm 11 years old, so I literally, and it was in my right leg, my right femur. So I literally, I couldn't walk anymore. I was on crutches for literally years.
Oh my gosh.
And it was horrible. I had my first major surgery. I think it was 13 to 14 hours long. When they took out the femur bone and they replaced it with cadaver bone. And that actually wouldn't heal, which is one of the reasons why I was on crutches for a really long time. So obviously I was in and out of surgeries, and they were trying to get it to heal, but it just wasn't. And then eventually it grew an infection in my right leg, and then I had to have another major surgery. So it's been a process. Like I said, I went through chemotherapy, quite a few different surgical procedures, and then my most recent surgery was about 8 years ago, I believe.
Okay.
I want to say in Massachusetts, in Mass General Hospital, and where they actually replaced my right femur with metal. So from my hip down to the top half of my knee, my right knee, excuse me, it's metal, and it's really a cool contraption. I'm the first in the hospital's history to ever have the surgery.
Wow. And
as of late, when I just spoke with my doctor, I think it was early this year, he told me that they still hadn't done another surgery like that. So it's pretty cool in a sense.
Yeah.
But definitely the process getting there wasn't fun by any means. But
absolutely.
It was definitely a turning point for me. Like I said, I missed a lot of school. I definitely lost out, on a lot of the social aspects of being in middle school. It was literally it was fifth grade. I remember it was the end of fifth grade, and it was I got diagnosed in May, and literally, the school year is about to end. So I remember like I was walking to school one morning and getting ready to leave for school, and I started walking down the street, and then I just dropped. Like there was no explanation for it. Like I just fell and I couldn't get back up, and there was like a lump on the inside of my right knee. And I'd been there for a while, but I was like a typical 11-year-old, wanted to run around and play. And I had recently fell in school, so they thought it was like, like a bruise or something. So, and I was trying to hide it, and that caught up to me. And luckily, my mom was actually like getting ready to leave for work. I'll never forget the day. She was getting ready to leave for work, and she hadn't left yet. But I made my way back into the house, and barely. And I vaguely remember that part. I couldn't remember if I got myself back in the house or if somebody saw me and they got like. Either way, I was like, I remember being on the sidewalk, like I couldn't get up. And so we ended up going to a local. A local like clinic. We walked in and like immediately they sat us and like everyone kind of looked concerned, but nobody really knew at that time. This is 1996. This is before like it was kind of still unheard of for kids to have cancer, especially where I lived in Newport, Rhode Island. It was like very unheard of. So it was like a shock to the community, really. And so, it was just a lot of people, just nervous and stuff. But long story short, I ended up being diagnosed, and they did a couple of tests. I've been through MRIs, I've been through X-rays and EKGs and ultrasounds, and like you name it, I have definitely experienced it. So,
I mean, because
it's been a long journey.
And I would think that.
But,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I was going to say, but it's been, I think it's been over 20 years now. So I'm alive and well and happy. So.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like, I ask because I would think that it would impact how you, obviously every aspect of your life, like having overcome something like
Absolutely.
that, but definitely your business. So how do you think that it like whether it empowers you or, how does it impact, the way you do business?
Honestly, it's like it's a drive that I have that I won't lie, I struggle a lot with it because it's a balance. I was diagnosed with PTSD as well, so that comes along with the process. So sometimes it is definitely a challenge for me. But I think the knowing what I've been able to overcome, it's like I kind of say to myself, and I am my worst critic, but I say to myself, there's really no excuse. Like if you've overcome cancer, like decades later, and you've accomplished so many things, there's really no excuse not to be so driven and not to really go after it. It's like you've accomplished a greater feat, which is life itself.
Yeah.
So I see myself that way, and I kind of push myself that way. But like I said, I have my ups and downs, so it's not always a perfect run, but it definitely has empowered me more and gave me more of a voice. I feel like I have a lot more to say and a lot more to fight for in society. As a person, as an artist, but also as an entity, as a business.
So you're saying it's empowering you, and like I like how you said, you've already overcome life itself. Like that is huge, and we do forget, just waking up in that you're alive, you're alive today, and there's so much that you can do. Sometimes we just, I can barely pay my bills. My business is failing, or so, we find a million reasons to complain. But having life itself is big. No, it's great. So,
Right. I always say, I don't mean to cut you off. I always say to people, like, if you can think about chemotherapy, it's a drug, but it's a poison. And so when you think about a poison running through your entire body to kill a cell, I mean, it has, that alone has its own effects. I mean, it's nausea, you're vomiting. I mean, it's a lot of things. So that's why the process itself is it's very overwhelming. So, I mean, when you think about, like I said earlier, life, it's really like, okay, you accomplished this, we got to keep moving,
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you are open about saying, I was also diagnosed with PTSD, because I mean, that's what I was thinking also as a child. Like even getting diagnosed as an adult, I would think that it would still be very traumatic to have to experience that. But like as a child, what coping skills do you really have to even comprehend what the doctors are telling you? So that is a huge feat.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
yes,
you.
so that so in regards to 1019, you said 1019 Media Group. Um,
Yes,
so
sir.
so like most companies, it's went through quite a few transitions. So tell us a little bit about the transition of this and how you got
Yeah,
to where you're at today.
it's funny. The transitions are really like representative of my life. 1019 Media Group, first of all, is representative of my life.
Mm-hmm.
1019, I've been asked recently a lot, like where the name came from, and I have a lot of reasons where a lot of places or resources of where I kind of pull the name from, but relatively speaking, 1019 is representative of me. That's actually my birthday. It's October 19th, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted something that was representative of my life, of my accomplishments, and just of life itself. Not even so much about me, but just of life and celebrating that. Celebrating the ability to be free, the ability to accomplish your wildest dreams, to do whatever you want to do, and to have no limits. And so when I think about that, I just was like 1019 Media, excuse me, 1019 Media Group. It's different, it sounds different, and it makes people ask questions, and that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. To find out more about you, and
Right.
I do like that. Like as I've been following you because we met, I think maybe about a year ago when you were in Rhode Island,
Yes.
or maybe a little bit longer than that. But as I've been following you and just seeing you on Instagram, you are very powerful. You are very proud of where you are today and how you got there and the things that you've overcome. And
Yes.
and I think that's what kind of attracted
Absolutely.
me to your business and brand. It does directly correlate with you. So it is really a
Exactly.
representation of you.
Exactly. So that's where the transitions come from. The transitions represent different stages and phases of my life where I thought I had it together, and then I was like, no, this isn't it. Okay, next level. What do we do next?
Mm.
The first name of my company was I think what was it called? Life Publishing Company,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just so much more about inspiration, and I wanted people to just be, and I had more of a religious streak to me at that point as well. So I was so much more about more religious things and stuff like that, and poetry. And poetry is a beautiful thing, so I don't want to make it sound like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in relation to religion and things like that, so I was way more on that side. And then I transitioned to a different place, and I was starting to really get into the arts and really appreciating the art form of writing and things like that. And so then I switched it to creative entertainment because I was like, okay, creative, like let's do something different. We're going to switch it up. And then, like I said, I've come into a better appreciation and understanding respect of myself as a person, as an artist. And so like I said, so even some of the artists that I work with, not even some, all of the artists I work with, um, I do search that type of connection with them and how I can help them, expand their vision based on it. Not necessarily that helps me to shine, but them. But it's really, amazing how the roster has kind of fell together. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's pretty much the transition of my brand.
Wow. And I like,
But now we're 1019 Media forever, so we're not going to change that. We're going
okay,
to stay
okay.
there. And that.
You're like, this is concrete. This isn't, well, you never know, but like you said, it's representative of
Yeah,
you
for
and where
now.
you're at.
For now.
Yep, yep. And what I was gonna say, what I like about what you just said is that that you went through different transitions, and that's really the business of soul searching. It's really like it's okay that you've had different phases, and that they're all important, and that's
Right.
what gets you to the end result. It's okay to be like,
Right.
this was who I was 5-10 years ago, and this is who I am, today, and then maybe in 5-10 years it'll look a little bit different. It'll be packaged a little bit different.
Exactly.
So
Right.
awesome. So you have a mixtape coming out in early 2018. So tell us, just kind of for people that maybe haven't really been following you before, that are kind of just meeting you,
Yeah.
and they'll be following you from here. What type of energy is this music going to have?
I'm really excited to talk about it. You're the first person that I get to talk about my mixtape with, so I'm really excited about it.
Yay! Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited. No, I have been working on this mixtape for literally 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying about transition. I've changed so much. I've experienced so many different things and different aspects of life, like the highs and lows. And so much has changed. And so my sound has changed, the topics and so much. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something again, music again.
Mm-hmm.
And And so this project, you know, really it's an album, but the reason why I'm going to call it a mixtape is because I'm a poet first. And I feel like poets, we just, especially for myself anyway, I am, you know, from one minute to the next, like right now, I could be really inspirational, really, really exciting. And then, you know, after this interview, I could, you know, something happened and really frustrate me and my mood be completely different and I just be aggressive and be upset. And I just, and it doesn't, but that's all relative. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's hard. So it's kind of like a mixtape / album because it's just, it's a collection of different things, different times, different moments, different feelings and things like that. But yeah, though the energy is just that. It's life. It's exciting. It's raw. It's hip hop. It's honest. It's you know, yeah, it's empowering. I like that. It's liberating and it's fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a voice. It's a voice for people to be able to say, you know, what they want to say and get it off their chest. And, you know, like we all go through things in life. We all have experiences and interactions with people and things. And sometimes I feel like we don't always get the chance to say what we want to say. Excuse me, my voice just cracked. Sometimes I feel like we don't get a chance to say what we need to say. And I, especially with men, you know, like I said, being diagnosed with PTSD and just the stigma around Black men, you know, and their voice and what they say and what they won't say and how they feel and, you know, how they express and things like that. I just feel like, you know, as an artist, I feel like I owe it to myself first and foremost, but I also owe it to the people that follow me and the people that I also want to reach, to be honest, and give them that voice that needs to be out there and talk about things that, you know, and particularly Black men don't get to talk about.
This is just getting me so much more excited. Like I was excited, but the way that you described it, I'm just like, ugh. So yeah, how did you, I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. How were you able to organize it? Because the thing is that you are talking about having so many different emotions and different time periods in your life. So how did you put all of this together or decide, okay, this is going to be the first track or that type of thing? How'd you do that?
That's the thing, you know. I am a firm believer in like organic transactions. Like I think things should just happen the way they're supposed to, and I try not to get in the way of things. And how it happened is, you know, when I first relocated to Tampa, I was just really, you know, a lot of things were going on. You know, I was dealing with a lot of personal things at the time. I'm sure we'll get into that at another time, but I was dealing with a lot of things. And so eventually, you know, music, which is always, like I said, I always wanted to express myself and I always wanted to say things, but then I started recording more and realizing like, man, I have a thing for this. So I put out 8 tracks back in 2013, I think, or 14. I can't remember which one it is, but I had a different artist name. I was Wordsmith then, and I had it was really like an EP, and I just put that out, and I just was like, okay, cool, I'm ready to do this. I thought I was like all the way there then, you know? And then over the years, like I said, being here and experiencing life and different relationships and different positions and figuring out what it is that I wanted, what direction I wanted my life to go, like I said, I just kept writing different things. So when I'm sitting down and I'm building the track list and how I want people to hear what I'm trying to say, I kind of go by how it sounds, like the emotion, the moment. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just I think it's an artist thing, like a music thing. I don't know. I have an ear for it the way I want you to hear it. So I kind of just go by. Like the funny thing is, like the first track could be, you know, like the first song I wrote 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's the craziest part when I'm listening back to a lot of the music that I've recorded. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I said that like that, or I wrote it like that, or the production was really different than like my style of music was so different 2 years ago than it is now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just the energy is just different. So you get to really kind of grow, kind of bounce around with me and really understand me as an artist and also hopefully give you a better insight of my brand and what's to come. So.
Yeah, and I like that because I think something awesome about what this mixtape might bring is that someone like me who's just being introduced to you in the past year, or even people that are literally just going to, like, that's the first time they're going to listen to you, you know, in 2018,
Right.
it'll almost kind of be like a transition. Like, they'll be able to be like, you know, they'll be able to see kind of the difference. They'll be able to tell, I'm sure, after
Right.
listening to it, like, oh, this is a little bit
Exactly.
different, or, you know, maybe he's talking about something different, or,
Mhm.
wow, that is so excited. And 3 years coming, I'm sure you're more excited than anyone else. Been
I
waiting through
am
this
like I'm
together.
so excited because this is like I have put in so much work for this, especially in the last 2 years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been homeless. I have literally slept in my car. I've slept outside. I have literally, like, I mean, no
Wow.
exaggeration. So I have like really seen the highs and the lows, for having like lots of money in your account down to like counting pennies to figure out how you're going to eat today. I have been there in the last 2 years. So to finally be in a place where like, okay, I have a car now, things are moving along, my business is starting to really move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as an artist, I'm able to invest. Now things have really changed. So I just, I'm very, very excited about it. The project is very representative of me, of my life, of where I've been. And I just feel like it's like almost like that debut project that I feel like is long overdue for me personally. Like for me, like my goal, and I say to myself all the time is this is for me first. You know what I'm saying? This is something
Mm.
that I want to do first. And so once I do it and I accomplish it, I'm already successful, you know?
Mm. Wow, that's huge. That's dropping gems over here. That's important though.
Yeah,
We
well,
lose
I mean, you
ourselves.
know what it
Like,
is? It's because, you know what it is? It's not, and I never want to come off cocky. It's not about that. It's just that I realize that sometimes we don't realize as people, like, how dope we really are, you know, like,
mm-hmm.
and how much we really can accomplish and what we can do, and there really aren't any limits. Like we really put them there, and I think that I'm just getting to a place now where I'm comfortable in being myself, and you know, given my history and where I've come from, that is literally like evolution.
Wow. And also, like, so you kind of talked about just like what experiences and different things that impacted this mixtape, but what about people wise, like, you know, people that you collaborated with or worked with on this, that what was their
Wow.
influence?
Wow. I have a lot, quite a few producers on this mixtape that I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my main producers that I'm really, really excited to actually have the honor to present to the world is a gentleman by the name of DJ Zettles. He unfortunately had passed away from epilepsy, but he was like the dopest producer. Like he had a natural, God-given talent, like raw talent. And I had met him when I first came out here. He was literally the first artist here in Tampa that really heard my sound and rocked with it. Like the first person that was like, "Oh my God, I want to work with you." Like, and he would come to my house and he would produce beats. Well, he had like literally a library of beats he had already produced before I even
Wow.
met him. We were sitting on his porch one night and he just showed me all these beats, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, on cloud nine, like, bro, nobody knows about this guy. Like, this
Yeah.
guy has, well, like, and he
Yep.
taught himself how to utilize, you know, the tools. Like, he taught himself how to do it. He bought the programs, and you know, I literally got to watch him. You know, I remember him sitting, you know, in my room. We'd be in my room with me, him, and a couple of our other boys, and you know, putting things together, and he'd be on the floor with his computer, his laptop, with everything, and just the speakers. He'd bring it all, and he would just create the beat, like right there. Like, you
Wow.
like this, take this out. You like that, take this out. And like, it's the craziest thing. So, unfortunately, like I said, when he had passed away, you know, we had so many things we were working on, and you know, we didn't get to do that. So I felt like, you know, nobody has heard that, you know, and I know, like, we would sit and talk about things, and I know exactly what he wanted to do. Like, he told me what his plans were with his music and where he wanted to go and what it meant for him, for his family and stuff like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, given my history and with life and stuff like that, and now, you know, having literally experienced that with someone else, in a different capacity, but I was also diagnosed with epilepsy, so it's just a different connection as well. But you know, I feel like I have an honor to still carry that out, and I feel like now's the time. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah.
So he's actually produced a lot of the mixtape. He's on there. So he was like one of my biggest inspirations really for the project, because he was one of the first artists. Like I said, when I first moved here, relocated to Tampa, he was one of the first artists that was like, whoa, like he introduced me to his friends. Like, like I just met a couple of his boys. They would come out and hang out, and I didn't really know anybody, and he was a younger guy, but it was cool to have that type of, and at first I didn't realize like they really saw me like that, and it took me a couple of years to realize, wow, like he really believed in me so much that it's almost like he left these things for me, and I want to make sure that I honor him and his family in this mixtape. So I'm definitely excited about that too. It definitely brings a different energy to the project as well. So.
Wow. I feel like just talking to you, I feel so empowered. Like you have such an amazing story. And you've just been through so
I'm
much.
really excited about it.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely building up excitement. But so we are going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Just what you saw in the picture. That cream, that yen, that money. And it's sunny, getting honey. Killing bunnies and it's funny. Run the money, silly dummy, eating dummy. Like a gummy, got to get the money. That cream, that yen, that money. And it's sunny, getting honey. Killing bunnies and it's funny. Run the money, silly dummy, eating dummy. Like a gummy, got to get the money.
And we're back. So Jerrell and I have been talking about just him and his business and really just like his childhood and how all those factors impact what he's doing, and also his mixtape that I can't wait to get my hands on. Now I'm counting down the days until 2018. Say, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I said definitely. I can't wait for you to hear it. I can't wait for everyone to hear it.
Yes, for sure. And just to, get a better sense of who you are and, things that you've been through and how you feel on topics. So I'm just very, very excited for that. So one thing that I felt like I didn't get to ask you in the first half, I did read in your bio that you double majored in psychology and creative writing. And then you decided to leave. So, I'm
Right.
curious about what led to that decision.
I I've always been someone who I like to jump into things, try them. If it's not for me, then it's just not for me. At least I can say I did it. And school was one of those things, but I didn't realize that until I had already spent a couple of tens of thousands of dollars in school loans, and then realized that it was, maybe time to really think about this, and really get serious about it. So when I actually, I don't know. It wasn't I was going to all the classes, and I would do online courses and stuff like that, and they were boring to me because most of the assignments I've already accomplished, I've already done. They want you to write poems and different forms. I have 3 books. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like I'm being cocky, but I literally it was boring to me because I was like, I'm going to spend, X amount of dollars to do something that I've already done.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather take my skills and, still get the necessary training. So I actually did go to Penn Foster Career School and got a diploma and a career diploma in freelance writing because I wanted some type of certification. I understand how important that is. But I just felt like I wasn't going to spend, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to get that accomplished. So I'd rather take that same energy, and this is just for me, it's just a personal thing, but I would rather take that energy and invest it into my own brand. So
that's powerful. I ask because, first of all, I'm on a break from school. While I was going to school for mental health counseling, I just kind of fell in love with the radio, and I've just been running with it, and it's been working for me. And, that was my soul searching. I felt like I needed to go through school a little bit to see and work in the field, to be I love advocating in regards to mental health and so many other different platforms, but that's not what I want to do. So I ask, because sometimes people are a little bit scared to, make that kind of jump. So what would you say to people if they're kind of I want to leave school, I want to kind of do something different, but, you know, I'm scared?
I think, honestly, I mean, to be honest, and that's just all I really know how to do, is be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like it depends on, you know, the reason why you're going to school in the first place. I think sometimes people go to school because it's an expectation of their families. I think that that's a big thing. And so, you know, which, like I said, a lot of things we talk about in the mixtape. That's all I'll say. But there's, I think the expectation of that. So when you're dealing with different pressures and stuff, you have to kind of sit back and say to yourself, what are you doing? You know, and that's what I had to do for myself. What am I doing? Like, I would love to go to school. I would love to do all these things, but am I really doing it because I want to do it, or am I doing it because expectation of me to have this done? And once I realized that I wasn't really in it for me, you know, because like I said, I'd already done all these things. So it's just like, now I'm just trying to be, you know, I want to be that guy, but it didn't work out for me. So what I would say to other people is, you have to find you. You know, what are you going for? Now, here's the thing. There are professions and there are careers that you do need, you know, adequate training for. Like, you can't just jump, you know, not go to school to be a doctor. That's not going to happen. You need to go to school to be a lawyer. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it depends on your career path. I think it depends on, you know, what you've chosen for your life. But again, it all falls back to you. What are you doing? What do you want to do? Not your family, not your friends, not, you know, what seems nice, you know, something that, but also in that, you know, I say allow yourself room to grow as well. You know, don't trap yourself. And it's okay to go to a community college if you wanted to try it out. You know, maybe just try a couple of courses first. And, you know, there's a lot of things that I feel like I didn't do first that I could have done. But at this point, it's a little, I wouldn't say it's too late, but I think it's better phrased to say that it's just not of interest anymore.
And that's okay. And that doesn't mean, and you can always go back to school too. Right. Like, it's not like, my thing is with my degree, I think I have 10 years to like re-enroll, you know, in classes and finish my degree. So it's like, school's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, that will always be, you know, there for you. But if you do want to venture out, like you're saying, and invest in yourself in your particular trade, you can learn. And like, there's so many courses, or I'll just podcasting, for example, there's so many courses where you can learn like marketing versus advertising versus, you know, like anything that you need to know. There's groups, there's seminars, I mean, and I'm not knocking school. A lot of good things and networking takes place in college, but
absolutely.
But you have to make that decision for you. And like you said, not necessarily for your family or what they need you to do. And, you know, it's about, you know, checking in with self. So, no, that's why I ask, because a lot of people can get like kind of stuck in school and they're like, I don't even want to be going to school for what I'm like, I don't even want to do when I graduate. I don't know what I'm going to do because I hate this, what I'm going to school for, and they're paying thousands of dollars. So,
right, and I know people, and I've heard of people that have degrees that they're not using, you know, and I just feel like, you know, I just didn't want to be that type of person. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie to you. At some point, I just, like I said, when I finished that, you know, I was just like, okay, you know, it just isn't for me. You know, I don't want to do this. I have no interest in it. Like I said, I'm going to move on and do what I feel like is best for me, you know. So.
Good stuff. But yeah, so then I guess we're getting towards the end of the interview, unfortunately. For those of you that are just signing on, that haven't listened to a podcast or the Business of Soul Searching podcast before, a new feature of season 3 is I ask the guests to pick 3 random numbers between 1 and 50, and then I read off a question, or the question that pertains to the number they gave me, and then they answer it to the best of their ability. So, I guess, let's have a little fun as we wrap it up. So, what's your first number? 1 through 50.
Let's go with 10.
Okay. So you might have answered this in the interview, but so it says, are you more worried about doing things right or doing the right things?
Oh, well, I'm definitely more worried about doing the right thing.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
You know, one of the things that I've learned, especially in the last couple of years, is, you know, and this is from watching my my music idols, my entrepreneurial idols. Like, one of the biggest things that I've learned is you have to, in order to accomplish great things, you're going to step on somebody's toes. You're going to offend somebody. You're going to, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though that might not be the thing you want to do, the right thing still has to be accomplished. And so I just feel like, it's not really so much about, I don't know. I'm just more of an unorthodox person anyway. I don't do rules. I don't do that. I feel like, when your heart is in a certain direction and something's going on, you go for it. And yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm like that's why we're connected in that way. It's just, and that's life. Life isn't like, there's rules in life, I guess. Like, there's laws and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's like, life is so unpredictable anyways. So you kind of should just kind of take it day by day, hour by hour, and just, what, like you said.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, next number.
Okay. Let's go with 19.
Okay. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Kind of a little bit like the last question, but would you break the law to save a loved one? I know, you're like,
That, it depends.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It so depends. It just depends. Yeah. Wow, that's a good question, but yeah, it depends.
So what,
you want me to elaborate on that?
I have to ask. Well, no, it's as much as you're willing to offer, but like, what would be a scenario where you could potentially see yourself breaking the law for a loved one?
For my niece or my nephew, anything for them.
Oh.
So it's like, like those, that's anything for them. Like I would do, excuse me, my voice cracked again. But no, I would do anything for them. So there's really no scenario that wouldn't apply.
Got it. Family first. Okay, so what's your last question? Your last number. I'm sorry.
Last number, no problem. What was the range again? 1 through what?
1 through 50.
50. Okay. Let's go with 47.
Okay. 47. So, I have, would you rather lose all of your old memories or never be able to make new ones?
Wow.
I feel like I'm not stumping you, but it does really make you think.
Yeah, that's tough. Lose old memories or never be able to make new ones. Honestly, I would probably want to lose the old memories only because otherwise you'd just be kind of like living life like very redundant life. You're just kind of repeating the same thing. You wouldn't know anything. Like,
true.
It would just be the old stuff. You know what I mean?
You keep making the same mistakes because you never knew. It's not
new
deja
memories.
vu.
You're moving on. Like,
true.
Okay. But the thing about it is, I think the crazy part about that is though, then those new memories become old memories.
But then you're saying you would keep the old memories, but you wouldn't be able to make new ones. So you would only have...
I'm saying I wouldn't... I'm saying I wouldn't want to keep the old memories.
Got it. Okay. So you want to do the new ones.
I would just want to make new ones, but then at some point they would become old too. So just...
Yeah.
Or maybe would they stay new like forever?
I know. I'm like,
cool.
There's no under question. Like, there's no like to explain a little bit more. I'm curious.
No, that's cool though. No, I really like that. Was a really good question though. It made me think like.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to like go like when I'm out to tea or I'm hanging out with someone. I'm like, like I want to ask my friends. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show. I know you're very busy, like you said, trying to.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. So where can people find you if they're like, I have to get in touch with this Jerrell Grimes and I need to, find out how I can collab with him, or where can they find you?
Yeah. I am on SoundCloud. I'm in the process of restructuring pretty much all of my social media. Excuse me. I'm on SoundCloud as the Jerrell Grimes. Instagram at the Jerrell Grimes, Facebook also at the Jerrell Grimes. It's pretty standard all through and through. You'll be able to find me. My company, we are building our website right now. Like I said, we're in transition right now, so you'll be able to see me in a lot of different places very soon. But yeah, for now, so like I said, it's the Jerrell Grimes. That's 2 E's, TheeJerrellGrimes. Majority of the times you'll find me on Instagram. I'm always posting music and clips and really doing a lot of promotion, some pre-promotion really for the mixtape. So you'll be able to hear some clips of the mixtape and different pieces that I'm working on. Not even really close to anything that is, everything, but it's a little bit.
Yeah, just to get kind of people excited and moving and, just some traction on your page. Awesome. Well, like I said, thanks again for coming on my show, and I can't wait to hear your mixtape.
Thank you very much again for having me, and congratulations on everything.
Thanks. And that concludes another exciting episode of The Business of Soul Searching. If the content discussed in this podcast interests you, please contact me at thebusinessofsoulsearching@gmail.com. Also, make sure you subscribe. And most importantly, take a calculated risk this week. Don't do it for me, do it for you.